All right, 10.3 in the statistics unit. Now we are doing measures of position. And the main thing that we're going to talk about is what is called percentile rank. Now, the definition for percentile rank is the percentage of scores that fall at or below a given score. So let's say that, well, I'll just, my daughter weighed 8 pounds, 6 ounces when she was born. Now, typically they will tell you what percentile rank that your child's weight is. I don't remember this, I'm just going to make this up. Let's say they told me that my daughter was in the 72nd percentile. What that means is 72% of the babies born weigh at 8 pounds 6 ounces or less. Let's see, let's say she was 18 inches in length. I don't remember, but let's just say that, okay? Again, they'll tell you the percentile rank. So let's say that they said that is the 61st percentile. What that would mean is 61% of newborns are 18 inches or shorter. So percentile rank is that number or below. All right? Here's another example. Say you scored a 90% on your first statistics test, so your score was a 90%. But you're also told that your percentile rank, 82nd percentile rank. Okay, these two numbers represent different things. This tells you your actual score on this test. This tells you how you did in relationship to everybody else. So what percentage of the scores are at or below? Well, that's your percentile rank. So 82% of all test scores were a 90% or below. Well, what percentage of the scores were above this? Well, to find what's above, you just take 100% minus the 82% that are below, so that would mean 18% of the scores were above your grade of 90%. Okay? All right. So, one of the first things that you're going to be asked to do is you're going to be asked to find the percentile rank. All right? So, you will be given the score. You have to find the percentile rank. All right, so when you're asked to find the percentile rank, they will give you, so given will be the class rank. So what I'm talking about is like when you graduated high school, you ranked 5th in your class, 20th in your class, okay? All right, so here's the steps we're going to take. Now, these steps right here, if you'll notice, finally, we're using the formula sheet. So these steps are listed on your formula sheet. If you're looking for the percentile rank, these are the 3 steps that we're going to take. All right? So let's take this example and do it step by step. All right. So we are looking for or finding percentile. All right. So you're given that you ranked 12th in your class and your class had 100 people in it. All right. So step 1 says take the total in the class. So there's 100 minus your class rank, which is 12. And that gives me 88. What that means is there's 88 people that were below you. So in step 2, you're going to create a fraction. The numerator is your answer from step 1. divided by the total in the class, which in this case is 100. So if you go to your calculator and put that in, oops, I want you to see the steps, sorry. If you put that in decimal form, you get 0.88, and then step 3 says convert that to a percent. Well, we can do all of that on our calculator. So I had 88 over 100, and I'm going to put that as a decimal, and then I'm going to convert to a percentage, so it's 88%. So 88% means the same thing as the 88th percentile. And that's what it asked me to find. Now, I'm not sure how it has you enter that on WebAssign, so just pay attention to the directions. All right? Same question, just different numbers. So step 1, take the total in the class, which there are 75 in the class, minus my class rank, which is 14. So that means there are 61 students below me. So I take those 61 below me and divide it by the total number of students in the class, which is 75. And you get 0.813 repeating. So I'm going to convert that. So again, you can do all of this on your calculator. 61, 75, decimal, convert to a percent, and it's 81.3% repeating. So 81.3 repeating percent. Now we're going to go ahead and look at that as the nearest percent. So it would be 81%. Or the 81st percentile. So if you'll just follow those steps, but what you have to pay attention to is, what is it asking me to find? What did they give me? That will help you determine which steps to use. All right, here's an application problem. Again, pay attention to what they give you and what they ask you to find. So Lisa's score was a 23, so her actual score is a 23, and this score was the 85th score. So in essence, she had the 85th number, so this is like her class rank. That's not her percentile, okay? Just because it says 85th, it didn't say percent. It just said she had the 85th number, so that's her class rank. From the top, in a class of 240 scores. So this is the total. So it says calculate the percentile rank. All right, so that tells me it is asking for the percentile rank, so I'm going to follow these steps. So step 1 was to take the total minus where her score was, or her class rank, which was 85. So it tells me there were 155 scores below hers. So I then take that number and I am going to divide by the total, which is 240, and on your calculator you get 0.64583 repeating. So then you convert that to a percent, you're going to get 64.583 repeating percent, but we're just going to round it to the nearest whole percent. So that would mean 65%, or the 65th percentile. Follow your steps, all right? Okay, that's when we're looking for the percentile rank. Well, now, in these steps, we're finding the class rank, all right, which means we will be given the percentile rank. Okay? And again, you can find these steps on your formula sheet right here. Okay? All right. So I'm going to come down here. And how do I know that they give me the percentile? Because look, it says 80th percentile. So this right here, because it says it's the 80th percentile, whereas this said the 85th score. That's the difference here. Since it says the word percentile, I know this is like 80%. Okay? All right, so step one. Multiply percent value, so that would be my 80%, times the total in the class. The total in the class is 30, okay? So if I take 80% times 30, I get 24. Step two, take the total in the class, well there were 30 in the class, minus step one, which was 24. So that gives me 6. This is my class rank. Okay? All right, now I want to jump up here to step one, and I need to now point something out that did not occur here. In step one, when you multiply the percent times the total, we got a whole number. If you calculate a decimal, always round down to the whole number. Here's what I'm saying. In step one, I'm going to come over here. Say in step one, we got, say, 24.2. Well, I'm always going to round down, so I'm going to use 24. That makes sense. Where it's hard to wrap our head around is, say we had calculated 24.9, because normal rounding rules would tell us that to use 25, but we do not use normal rounding rules. So for this, it tells us to always round down, so this would be 24. Okay? So, kind of have to be careful of that. All right. So here, because it says the word percentile, I know 73rd percentile means 73%. So in step one, we're going to take 73% times 40. That's the percent times the total. And that gives us 73% times 40. I get 29.2. And this is what I'm talking about. Now we round down, so this would mean we use 29. That's what you have to be careful of. So now we take the total in the class minus step one, and we get 11th. So we have a class rank of 11th. Okay? All right. So now we're going to do an application problem following these steps. Lee has received a percentile rank of 85%. So they gave me the percentile rank. So they're not going to ask me to find it. So as soon as I see that they give me the percentile rank, I know I'm not going to be looking for it. So I know that I come here and I'm going to be looking for class rank. And it tells me that there's 50 students. What is Lee's rank in the class? So step one tells me to take the percent times the number in the class, 85% times 50, I get 42.5. Now this is where normal rounding rules would tell me to round that to 43, but the rule tells me round down. We do not follow normal rounding rules. So we're going to use 42. Be careful of that. That's kind of a catch-up. All right, step 2 is we take the total, 50, minus what we calculated in step 1, so we get a class rank of 8th. Can y'all hear the chimes in the back? Don't you wish you were here on campus with me? All right. So, the next page, when you apply this, the biggest key is which one do I use? All right. Tina ranks 65th out of 7,500 class. What is her percentile rank? So it says, what is the percentile rank? So when I'm looking for percentile rank, I'm going to use these 3 steps. So step 1, total in the class, 75, minus class rank, 65, so I get 10. Step 2, take that value and divide it by the total number in the class, and you get this decimal, so I get, all right, now I'm going to convert that to a percentage in step 3. But we are going to round to the nearest whole percent. So it would be 13% or the 13th percentile. Okay? All right. Down here. James. All right, so let's look at James. Tells me he ranked 80th in his class. So he ranked 80th. And the total in his class is 450 students. Over here, then we have John. And he had a percentile rank, percentile of 80, which means 80%. Okay, so notice John, they gave the percentile rank. James, they gave the class rank. Okay, so that's important to know which steps to use. And let's see, same class. So there are still 450 students. So we want to know who has the higher standing in class. All right, do one of 2 things. John is already percentile, so we could take James and find his percentile rank, which would mean follow these 3 steps. So I'm going to do that. Step 1, the total, minus, he ranked 80th. So 450 minus 80 is 370. Then we take that number and divide by the total number in the class, 450. And you get 0.82 repeating. So that as a percent would be 82.2 repeating percent, but again, we're going to round it to the nearest whole percent. So it would be 82% or the 82nd percentile. Now, once I do that, I can compare James' percentile to John's percentile. This means 82% of the class is at or below James. 80% of the class is at or below John. So that would tell me that James ranks higher. Or you could take John and find John's class rank. And that would be, you're given the percentile, so now we're going to do these two steps with John. One, take his percent, 80%, times the total, and 80% times 450 is 360. So then we take the total minus that, and we get a class rank of 90th. Well, James ranks 80th, which is higher than John's rank of 90th. All right, that completes all of measures of position.